Hello everybody, and in this video I'm going to show you how to format your PC. Now first of all, before I begin in the video, I want to clarify what I mean by format. Many misconfuse this term in resetting your PC, but I want to show you how to format your PC, how to wipe your whole C drive, which is your system drive. I'll get to it later in the video. So here I am running a Windows 7 machine. It really doesn't matter what operating system you run, even Linux. So I want to show you pretty quick what's going on here on the computer. So here we have local disk C, this is the system drive. This is where Windows is located. Most computers and most users use C drive as their main drive and as their system drive. But there are a few users that may have a system drive on a different letter, but one I want to show you is how to wipe your system drive. So I have here C, D, which are partitions of the same hard drive, but it doesn't matter for now. And I have here disk D, which has two files. And here I have Windows and users and all that stuff. Let's say my computer, my operating system is running not so good and I want to erase it immediately. So what should I do? Now we should boot the computer from a different source. Now every time you turn on your PC, it boots off of your hard drive that OS is located in. For example, here I have a hard drive, a virtual hard drive, because I'm in a VM, and it boots out of Windows 7. Now I want to boot from something else. I'll boot off an ISO file or a DVD USB that has a Windows installation setup. Now what it means that it doesn't matter the version, although I kinda recommend to use the version of the same OS just for to avoid compatibility issues with your machine. For example, if you're running it's weird, but anyway, if you're running Windows XP nowadays and you want to format it, it would better not to use an ISO file of Windows 10, because most probably it will not load on a machine based on Windows XP. So you probably want to get an ISO file of Windows XP or Vista 7, that kind of stuff. I hope I was clear, and let's begin. So I am here on a VM, as I told you before. Okay, now just to show you show you that it doesn't really matter what setup you're using. I actually entered here a Windows 10 ISO file. So let's restart the machine. And after the restart, it will boot off from in my case, in the DVD drive. You may want to reconfigure your BIOS settings, your boot menu, and boot from the device that has the installation media of Windows, whatever Windows. Okay, something quick to show you. I didn't boot off automatically from the CD-ROM drive, so I will do it from here. I enter the boot menu, and every machine is different. In this VM I needed to press escape. On my personal computer I need to press F12 in order to get to this boot menu and eventually to the BIOS settings. Usually it is written in the bottom of your first screen, but not all the time, so just I hate this term, but trial and error is the right thing, unless you can find it. For example, look your model of the computer and you see what's the key to enter the BIOS. Anyway, if it doesn't work, try F2, F4, F6, F12, F10, escape. These are the most commonly used keys, but if not, just try any F key that you can press. Alright, so I will click enter on the CD-ROM drive and boot off the Windows 10 installation. ISO. If you remember from my previous video, I showed you how to actually install Windows 10, so you would see that the process is really the same, just in the beginning. Okay, so now we are here on a Windows 10 setup. Don't bother with this because you're not going to reinstall Windows from here. Actually, you can erase the system drive and install on an unallocated space that you will create the new operating system from here. So, but if you do so, make sure you brought yourself the right ISO. Next, install now. You should click not repair. Now setup is starting. Just something to tell you, the installation UI, the installation UI of Windows Vista 7, 8 and 10 is pretty much the same in the beginning. If you go backward, for example Windows XP and Windows 2000, you will see a DOS-like, it's a non-graphical user interface that is actually based on Windows NT and Windows XP in 2000, and you can absolutely erase the C drive from there as well. I just show you something a little more modern. But the easiest and most legal way that you can do it is actually downloading from the Microsoft website an ISO file of Windows 10. Most machines nowadays can run this ISO. And if your machine is really old and you don't know on which year it came, then you can probably go with the NXP, it will load. Totally fine. It's a little different if you go before Windows 2000 to, for example, Windows 98 and Windows 95. It is a little different because the whole process of managing the partitions and drives is managed through DOS commands. Many people nowadays don't know DOS commands, so I would recommend stick with a graphical user interface or non-graphical user interface, but an interface for those who don't know the DOS commands. And I'm sure that the old guys that know DOS commands will consider all of us, the younger ones, a little foolish for not knowing the DOS commands. Anyway, I don't have a product key, it really doesn't matter, I'm not going to install Windows from here. The addition really is not important right now. Next. Accept this, doesn't matter. Alright, this is the most important. You don't click upgrade even though you can, you click custom, because custom will show you this. Now remember previously in the beginning of the video I showed you that I have two drives, drive C and drive D, so here they are. Both of them drive 0 because they're the same physical hard drive, but as you can see, partition 1 and partition 2. How do you recognize them? Very simple. Total size. Do you remember what is the capacity of the partition or the drive? I remembered in my C drive it is 33.8 gigs, so I recognize it. And free space, you can use it as well. But also, as you can see, type. It really tells you it is system. This is a system partition. You may see multiple system partitions if, for example, you have a dual boot PC and you have on your PC multiple OSs. Okay, so here what you do is really easy. You can either click format, and this partition might contain important files or applications from your computer manufacturer. If you format this partition, any data stored on it will be lost. And you can either click delete. I think it will do the same thing. I'll click on format, and now it wiped. As you can see, total size, as you can see, free size is now pretty much the same as total. So it wiped out all the information, and if you want to even more format it, you can click really delete. And now it will create an unallocated space. This is a space on your hard drive, but it is not configured in any way, not by file system, not by drive letter, not by anything. And did I mention the file system? So yes, after you format your drive, after that you can consider the file system. For example, if you're planning on formatting a drive that is not a system drive, you don't need to do this from here, you can do this from Windows itself. And then you can also choose the file system, NTFS, FAT32 exFAT. From here you can't, because Windows will automatically install in NTFS, and I actually recommend NTFS for most cases. Is the best file system, unless you use a thumb drive. This is something else, but you understand my point. Of course, then I will explain what's our file system in a future video. This is a completely separate topic and it deserves its own video one day. Now let's say D drive, this is my partition 1, is a logical type logical of a partition, and here I store my data, my personal data. I don't want to touch it. I want to here install the let's say Windows 10, and my personal data, if you remember the two files I showed you, this is my most precious data, I'm just kidding, will stay on this drive without any problem. Windows, the installation, Windows setup won't touch it, and it will stay the same. If you're going on the direction like I went in this video, you want to exit the setup and not install Windows because you just want to format your operating system. And I will go even further. If you want to, for example, sell your PC, you can format all of them, and then you will create a chunk of one unallocated partition, because if they're both unallocated, you can make them as one because they're the same physical drive. Okay, so you can. So now we finished. We can click here on this. Quit. Yes. From here we can also click on this. Yes. Did you notice the different layouts? The first one is from Windows 7 Basic Theme and Windows Vista Basic Theme, and the next one is from Windows Vista Aero Theme, which is pretty interesting. Okay, now that we formatted, and as you can see, it's blank. We have no any operating system here, and it booted from the last resort boot that VMware has, which is this one, network boot. That actually is not booting anything unless you wanted to boot something. Anyway, this is the end of the video, so I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Please tell me in the comments what do you think, and if you found this tutorial useful, I'll appreciate that very much. I hope you enjoy. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and follow for every new tutorial that I will make and other kind of videos. I'll see you again next week. Bye bye.